Cooper. Cooper with a great chance. Cooper must make it four. He does.
The Full-Time Review Show is brought to you and supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. And also by Craig International. And if you have plans to visit the Energy Exchange Australia next week, make sure you visit the guys on stand Q8. Steve Gibson, Cheryl Fernandez and Vijay Krishnan will be on hand to answer all your questions. They're very much looking forward to seeing you if you can join them in Australia next month. These were the full-time scenes yesterday after Aberdeen reached the semi-finals of the Scottish Cup. And as always, my thanks to Paul Hannon for providing those pictures. Graham Shinney has scored in each of his last 3 starts in Cup quarter-finals. Kevin Nisbet with his 10th goal of the season. And Uday Dabag bagging a couple. 4-1 was the final score. And my thanks to @Don's Collector on X for putting together this headline montage for me. This is how the newspapers responded to Aberdeen's comfortable victory against Queen's Park at Pittodrie yesterday. We're into another Scottish Cup semi-final, where we will face either Hearts, Celtic, Livingston or St Johnstone. The draw for the semi-finals will be made directly after the Livingston-St Johnstone game tomorrow. And I have to be honest, I'm quietly hoping for one of those two at Hampden. So, we've done it. We made it through. And wasn't it good? I thought we played really, really well in spells of the game. I thought we started a little bit slowly, but once we settled and once we got into our rhythm, I thought at times we played some really, really good football. So it was great to watch. Delighted to get over the line. Some fantastic performances all over the pitch. So come and tell me what you thought of our performance yesterday. Usual drill, live chat underneath the live video. Come on, leave your comments. Don't forget to always be respectful. And if you're going to interact with each other, again, all I ask of you is just be respectful of each and other's thoughts and all that. You know the script by now. So, a little bit later, Andrew Budge is here. We are going to break down the game for you, and we're going to show you just how well Yumi got his tactics spot on in yesterday's game, and how making little tweaks here and there actually made all the difference, particularly when it came to getting room and space for Shayden Morris to get one-on-one with his immediate opponent. Yesterday, it made all the difference. I thought Shady Mo yesterday was fantastic and most definitely merits another start next weekend. So we'll bring that to you very shortly. Let's begin the show by just very gently reminding you that yesterday the manager made 5 changes from the Dundee United game. So Alfie Dorrington came in for the injured Christers Tobers. Graham Shinney, as we all know, made his 600th senior appearance. He started for Jack McKenzie. Leighton Clarkson came back in for Sivert Nielsen, who was rested for the day. Shayden Morris came in for Jeppe Uckels. And Uday Dabag, he came in for Papa Gay. And wasn't it great to see Jack Milne and Dante Polvara get minutes on the football pitch yesterday after they've been out injured for a number of months. So that was the team lineup. These are your match stats for you. So we enjoyed 60% possession of the football, 17 shots in total, of which 10 were on target, 5 off target, 2 of those efforts were blocked, and we managed to achieve 7 corners throughout the game. So what we'll do is we'll get Andrew on first so that you can have a look at the analysis. This is roughly about 9 or 10 minutes long. We've broken it all down for you, and then we will get you guys on straight after. We'll hear from the manager as well, and then we'll get you guys on. So please enjoy Andrew's analysis of our victory yesterday. Hi mate, it's good to see you as always. Thank you for jumping on. Okay, so we've got lots to talk about today. All very, very positive as well, which is great. But before we get into it, just give us your general thoughts on how we played yesterday.
thought we played really well, to be honest. I thought we moved the ball about really well, created a lot of good attacking opportunities. So a lot different from sort of recent weeks or past months. So really positive. We showed a little bit of vulnerability again from set pieces, but that didn't come back to bite us, thankfully. Room to improve there, but a really good performance overall and just into the semi-final, which is great.
Well, last week, we talked about the impact of Shaden Morris, and thankfully, I got my prediction right for once that he would actually start the game. I was delighted to see him start the game, and for me yesterday, it was all about him. And Yimi was very clever in how he set us up to make sure Shaden got on the ball.
Yeah, I thought Yemi got his tactics spot on yesterday. As you said, we really sort of structured our whole game around getting Morrison to 1v1 scenarios. We know that's a huge strength in this game, being able to run at players. He's got speed and agility. He's good on the ball, and he can just sort of drop the shoulder and get past people. So I thought we did really well to play to his strength yesterday. Queen's Park, well, they weren't very aggressive, to be honest. They kind of were happy to sit back, which kind of maybe played into this sort of tactic even more. But what we sort of do from the first example we pull up here, we just show how high and wide Boris is and also how deep sort of Queen's Park are. So that gives some of our attacking players a lot more space to pick a pass. What I think we did really well yesterday was where we sort of positioned certain players so that everyone was structured around getting space for Morris. So as you can see in the first example, you've got Jensen really central. And what that does is it just sort of detracts a lot of the Queen's Park players and sort of sucks them into the centre of the pitch. We made a really big effort of sort of overloading central areas, and you can see how high and wide Morris is. And that gets him into these really good 1v1 situations where we know he's going to have a lot of joy. You can see how sort of deep Palaversa is there. So he's just sort of drifting back to get a bit of space. And he's got the sort of, him and Clarkson have the ability to execute these sort of diagonals that are absolutely brilliant. So in this example, we'll move to the second screenshot and hits a brilliant diagonal off to Morrison. It's absolutely perfect there. We've got the defender 1v1 up against Morris, and you can drop the shoulder and whip a great cross in. You can see how many bodies we've actually got in the box there. Almost Jensen's almost in the box, but we've got 3 or 4 bodies there. Totally different to how we were playing sort of in the past couple of months where he seemed a lot more timid in front of goal. I appreciate it was maybe the quality of the opposition has to be taken into consideration, but I thought we got our tactics spot on, and you're really pleased to see that.
Yeah, I thought overall he was absolutely magnificent yesterday. I thought his balls into the box, just
Yeah.
having no fear to take players on. Yeah, for me, he was man of the match yesterday. For the fourth goal, which I thought was an absolutely sensational goal, I had me out my seat, I must admit. First and foremost, you've picked out a graphic for us to look at, which just shows you how compact we are in the build-up and the effect that the build-up had to eventually leading to the goal.
Yeah, I think it's really good to have a sort of bird's eye view of the pitch sometimes. Unfortunately, the angles and some of the commentary you get on TV doesn't give you that much perspective. So what we've done here is just sort of show a bird's eye view of how we set up for the fourth goal. I really like how you may set us up overall in possession. And what you can see from this example is how sort of focused we are on one side of the pitch, and you can see how much space Morris has on the other. So it's quite similar to the first example we pulled up. But what a couple of things I'd really like to pick out from the example here. You can see Knooster, he was almost in possession playing like a left back. So he was sort of driving down the line, giving a lot of space to Srini, who would push further up like a winger. And where Knooster would drive a bit further forward, one of Clarkson or Palaversa's then got a lot more space to sort of drift back, have a lot more space to pick a pass. And as I said, they've got the technical ability to execute these sort of great diagonal passes. So you can see we're really sort of consciously pushing everyone to one side of the pitch. Again, I think Jensen's positioning is really important in this sort of graphic we've got from the bird's eye view. He's really central. It attracts, I guess that's their number 9, for example, but that position there, it just keeps them central. It keeps their players pushed to one side of the pitch and leaves Morris by himself 1v1. It's a sort of dangerous, sort of slightly dangerous tactic to play like this because you're obviously relying on one big cross-field pass to make it to Morris and for it to be sort of taken down and to attack based on sort of one pass. But have Jensen sort of centrally there, it's really good to have him there for sort of stopping counter-attack. So if the ball does get turned over, he's really well positioned to sort of mark someone closely. So yeah, no, I really liked how we set up like that. And if we bring it on to the actual example of the pitch that we see, you can see Knooster carrying the ball wide. really didn't know he had this to his game, but he was really progressive driving down the left-hand side of the pitch. And you can see exactly on the pitch where our players are positioned. You can see how central they are and how sort of pushed to the left-hand side everyone is, just to create that space for Morris. And when we go to the second screenshot, that's where you see Clarkson playing that brilliant sort of 40, 50-yard diagonal. Like, I really don't think there's many players in the Premiership that can execute passes like that. Absolutely brilliant. He's came under a lot of criticism this season, and yeah, I thought he was brilliant yesterday, and his range of passing is just excellent. So yeah, what he gives us is that ability to hit a player from 50 yards, and Morris does really well as well, just to take it down, one touch, sort of shapes up the defender and does the drop of the shoulder to beat him. But yeah, it's a really good example of just direct play that I think is quite similar to what we thought we'd be getting from Tulin based on his Elfsborg team. Onto the final sort of graphic, you see just that drop of the shoulder from Morris. He's straight past the defender and a brilliant cross. We often sort of last season as well wouldn't see that end product from Morris, and sort of this year I think it was 11 assists he's had and 4 goals. Just really brilliant numbers, and what a turnaround in his form. So it's really good to see, and yeah, great to see the strikers getting some goals as well. So overall, a brilliant performance. I just love how we sort of focused our whole sort of strategy to get those 1v1s for Morris, and it really paid off.
Before the game, there's a lot of talk about, and I've been guilty of it myself, there's been a lot of talk about Shayden Morris not having quite the impact starting a game as he does when he's a substitute. But I think yesterday's performance has kind of put that argument to bed. But I think what's important now is, because how well he played yesterday, I fully expect him to start again next weekend. But what he's got to do now, he's got to keep that level of consistency going throughout. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, definitely. We really hope to see just more consistency and more great performances from him. I think, as we saw yesterday, sometimes you need to have a team where the whole team needs to contribute and get him in scenarios where he's not doubled up.
Yeah.
So where he's 1v1, he'll be absolutely brilliant. If we're not playing tactically the right way, where he's going to be doubled up, it's going to mean he's a bit more marginalised. So yeah, I think we did a really good job of just making sure we got the best out of him, and I really hope to see more of that in the coming weeks.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, fella, thank you so much as always for coming on, and have a good week, and we'll see you again next weekend.
Yep, see you next week.
Brilliant. Thanks, mate.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ta-da, ta-da. My thanks to Andrew, as always. So let's get the thoughts of the manager, courtesy of the football club.
It's always easy to, the expectations before the game you have to win, and how the players taking responsibility. The first 5 minutes we were a little bit shaky in some parts there, but then we get more and more control of the game, and we score 4 goals and some more opportunities. So I think it's good to see the team stable. If it makes a lot of changes today, that the squad is getting stronger, because you need to build a strong squad to be coping with cups and leagues even for the future, when the injuries and these things happen, and you can keep performing. So it was good to see today that we can keep performing, even make some changes today, and everybody is taking a step forward instead of a step backwards.
So very happy Jimmy Tulin yesterday. Right, guys, let's get you on and let's see what your crack is tonight. Gordon Keith Ritchie came on first of all. So good evening all. We did a professional job. Now on to the semis. This should give us confidence for the rest of the season. Kaiser's on, wishing everybody a good evening. What a wonderful range of passing from Palaversa and Clarkson yesterday, pulling Queen's Park all over the park. It was great to see. Keskinen on the left, Shady Mo on the right is definitely the way to go from now to the end of the season. He's asking for your thoughts. Ryan Ellington is on. Hi Ryan. He says hello to everybody. Absolutely brilliant game yesterday. I went with my uncle to Pataudry. We had such a brilliant time. Brilliant goals from a very classy player in Kevin Nisbet, Uday Dabag, Graham Shinney and Shayden Morris were absolute highlights of the match. Right players for the right match. And he finishes off by saying, Ryan, continue making the fans proud. Roll on Hampden, stand free. Ryan, thank you for commenting tonight. Greg Pilgrim says, good to see Polvara and Boyd get minutes. The perfect weekend will be rounded off by Celtic getting the Jambos in the semi. Robert Fowler is on, saying, heard this elsewhere yesterday, but I think that Nisbet is benefiting from Dabag playing alongside him. Kaiser came back to say, we've got Celtic in the last 2 semi-finals, time for someone else to have a shot. Neil Sinclair is on, wishing everybody a very good evening. Kaiser says, we've got to play 4-3-3 or 4-4-2. This thing we are doing with Papa Gay as a mock 10 simply isn't working. Right, bear with me a second, just while I get all your comments in here. Oh, lots of comments, which is great to see. Barry Cole says, good evening, Dandies. Great win yesterday. Started slow, but quickly got up to pace. Shinnie should stick at left back. Anyone know why Nielsen was missing? Looking forward to the draw tomorrow night. Graham Pilgrim came back to say, Nisbet getting 90 minutes the last few games is really sharpening him up. It's taken a long time to get back to the form we know that he can produce. Craig Ruff is asking me what I think about Nisbet. Should we pay the price now he's showing he's hitting form and clearly enjoying his football? Strikers who score regularly are hard to come by. Listen, I wouldn't jump in just yet. I would just keep it nice and steady. Just let him improve. You know, there's a lot of talk. I don't know if you saw it on the BBC website today. A lot of talk about him possibly getting a Scotland recall. For me, let's just see how it goes. But, you know, to justify us having to pay a fee and his wages on top of that, there'll be a signing on fee. You know, it's a hell of an investment. He's got to absolutely prove his worth. So at the moment, I would say he's doing brilliantly well. I'm delighted for the boy. But let's just see if he can continue to improve and keep banging in the goals for us. Then make a call on it. Dave B says, absolutely agree, Kaiser. Keskinen performs so much better on the left, and Shady Mo is getting better and better. His first touch is excellent, and his pace is devastating. Graham Gibbs says that Nielsen suffered an eye injury in training. So a lot of you are asking about, you know, should Nisbet stay? Should he go? Should we pay the money? What about Uday? Some of you are now asking about Uday as well. Paul Donaldson says, good evening, Dandies. Great to get through to Hampden again. Queen's Park deserve a lot of credit. They made it difficult for us in the second half. Sheep on Fire says, excellent first half and a good start to the second. Subs changed the flow quite a bit, saw it out, and off to Hampden we go again. St Johnstone or Livy, please, in the draw. David Gold is on, wishing everyone a good evening, as is Colin Gale. He said, a good performance, but work had to be done. We will know when it's right, when they can play Celtic better. Hibs seem to have achieved it, so we need to follow. Erica Mitchell is on, saying, good evening, fellow Dandies. Great game result yesterday. Hampden, here we come. Paul Hannon is on. How are we doing, Paul? By the way, I got all your messages, mate, so thank you as always. Great result yesterday. The starting 11 worked well, have to say. When Pappy and Ambrose came on, they were more shoving players over than passing. Angela Hamilton is on. Hi, Ange, how are you? There's only the one team that I don't want in the semi-final. Yep. David Gold came back to say, loved Nisbet's finish yesterday. Shitty Mo did good. Clarkson 2. O'Day looks promising. Hope this boosts confidence. Roddy Keenan is on. How you doing, Roddy? John Moore said, great result and some good performances. What's the bets we get Celtic? Always the way. Hot to beat them sometimes if we got to beat them if we want to win it. Of course. Neil's on, wishing you all a good evening. Sandra McPherson is also on. She said, how good was yesterday, especially the first half. Shinnie, who I've been happy to drop for months, has been so good. As for the rest, we were playing some great football. Elfie Dello says, good evening, Dandies. What is it with Don's managers substituting strikers on a hat-trick? I did think that as well. Kaiser says, we got a bit sloppy after the subs were made. Still defensively vulnerable, I think. Roddy came back to say, Shady, Nisbet and Uday look to be a cracking combination. Neil Sinclair says, Shady Mo puts his foot on the ball, then he bangs away and he's... Hang on, let me get this right. Shady Mo, he puts his foot on the ball, then bang, he's away and beating the defender. Excellent stuff. Got you. Yeah, Paul Hannon, just reiterating the point. Good to see Dante and Jack Milne returning from injury yesterday. Steve Williamson says, thought Shady Mo, Nisbet starting to get back to some real form. Uday might just be our answer. Could well be, fella. Colin Gale says, I believe Nielsen had an eye injury and was protected yesterday. So thanks for clearing that up, guys. Kenny Salvin said, I loved it. We played so well. Let's hope we can win the cup, get something in the bag. 35 years, don't forget. 35 years. By the way, wasn't it fantastic to see Graham Shinza get his goal on his 600th senior appearance? Took it well, didn't he? Colin Gale says, Yumi Talene needs to work on defending set pieces and high balls. Jensen had a couple of scary moments yesterday. Oh, didn't he just? Graham Gibbs says, our back four have little protection from our personnel in midfield. Clarkson and Palaversa are great going forward, but disappointed by how slow Palaversa is at getting back. Clarkson is not physical. David Gall said, I'd give Urkels to the end of the season to prove himself, but so far I would pass on the option to buy. Stanley Roddy said, bit of a disappointing crowd. We'll await the Tims demanding the bigger share of the ticket if we meet them in the semi or final. That's a given. Musical Box said, I would buy the bag, but not Urkels, unless he really comes on to a game. Yeah, I'm not convinced by him at the moment. I hope he proves us all wrong. Lee Pickens says, I really hope Yimmy starts with the same team next weekend. I really like Shinnie at left back. Not sure if he'd agree. Thought it was a great team performance yesterday. Scott McLean's on. Hi Scott, how you doing? He says, I like how he set up and put overloads on one side and had a free winger on the other. This only works for Clarkson and Palaversa in midfield to pull off those long passes. Teams will get savvy though. Andy B says, it will be good to see how Shinnie gets on at left back moving forward. Not had to do any defensive work in the last few games. He could stay high and wide. Scott McLean came back to say, Morris starting yesterday against a championship team doesn't out the super sub argument to bed. He needs to do it against Premier clubs, including the top six, but he does look good though. Absolutely take your point, Scott. Fair enough. Lee Pickens says, I think we need to take a minute before we talk about buying Nisbet. He's had a couple of good games and I hope he keeps heading in that direction, but let's not get too excited. Craig Buchan says, who cares if you can't beat the first man from a corner when you've got Nisbet? Would like to see him signed. He's a natural goal scorer and would be a good option for us. Andy B says, really enjoyed Clarkson Palaversa yesterday, although against streetwise Premier League teams, they'll have no time to pick up the passes. Yeah, maybe. Bruce McKenzie says, it was a great game to see live. On the ferry back to Stornoway just now. Looking forward to meeting you, Ali, at the McLeish and Miller at the end of the month. Have a safe trip home, Bruce. I'm very much looking forward to meeting you as well, fella. West Coast Dawn said, great result on Saturday, especially our strikers scoring. Sheep on Fire says, roll on Hampden. Hopefully we'll get a win since it's my birthday on the 19th of April. Nice. Musical Box says, I don't think we'd be likely to play Clarkson and Palaversa as out midfield duo regularly. I think it was just that we were up against lower level opposition. Barry Wood said, seen Nisbet at the train station yesterday, stopped to get a photo with some young lads. I must say he had a bounce in his step. Good to see. Craig Buchan says, it will be Aberdeen versus Hearts in the semi. SFA will want Celtic versus Hearts, Aberdeen in the final. You could be quite right, Craig. Musical Box says, I thought Ambrose needs to improve a lot if he is ever going to be a starting player for us. Andy B said, I expect Nisbet would look for another 12-month loan, given the championship wages he's on. Yeah, possibly. Julie Bruce is here. Hi, Julie. How are you? She says, I think Nisbet and Uday make a great partnership. Right. We're nearly done. One last thing to do, as always. Don't forget, give the show a wee like. Thank you for all the comments that have come in. And as I keep banging on, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. 4,222 we're sitting on at the moment. I'd be absolutely delighted and thrilled if you would please consider joining those 4,222. And let's see how we continue to build here on Ali Beg ABTV. Right, guys, we're just coming up to 25 minutes. I'm going to call it a night. So thank you so much for being with us. The preview show will be back on Friday. Going to have a very special guest for you, doing that interview on Wednesday afternoon. So I'll bring that to you during the preview show on Friday night. So have a brilliant week. Should we have a reaction to the draw? Should we have a reaction to the draw? Should we have a reaction to the draw? Let's have a wee think about that. Keep an eye on my socials and I'll make my mind up about that tomorrow. Yeah, maybe. Stand free. See you soon. Talking such rubbish.